Up next is a visit to one of my favorite places in South Lake Union, Goodwill. This is one of the smaller Goodwill stores, but they tend to have some good finds here, so I'm excited to go in. Of course, the electronics area is my top visit within any of the Goodwill stores. So we'll see what's here today. I already scanned through what's here and didn't really find anything super compelling today. But it's always worth a check. There's this kind of cool clock here. Got a motion sensor that not really sure what this does. Digital cameras. This is always an interesting thing to find. I see these pretty regularly. It's the Sonos Audio Hub. Looks like a mini little telepresence robot. I actually remember this from the Living Computer Museum. I guess you never know what's going to show up at Goodwill. Flashlights. Ooh, Gryffindor clock. That's definitely a bit more interesting. I'm going to have to consider this one. $5 for a Harry Potter nerd like me. Salt rock. You know what I don't see right now is a Wii balance board. Although I don't tend to see those at this Goodwill, even though it's a staple item. It's an essential oil diffuser and it looks brand new for $4. No power supply though. I really wish the rest of this weather station was here. I'm really tempted and I'm debating this Gryffindor clock. I don't know, this art doesn't look super authentic, so I think it might be a pass. There's also plenty of clothes and a little bit of other stuff here at this Goodwill, but electronics was my main goal and that's been accomplished, so I think this wraps up my visit. I'm gonna keep the good times rolling by hitting another Goodwill. Let's go up to Capitol Hill. This is the Capitol Hill Goodwill location. Once again, I'm gonna head inside and go look at some electronics and maybe see what else is here today. This Goodwill has really cool architecture. I'm having a look in the collectibles case. A lot of electronics in here as usual. The most compelling thing is this PlayStation Eye camera, but it's a little cheaper online. This is a nice little camera because you can actually hack it to work with Windows even though it's designed for the PlayStation 3. Nothing else in here too compelling today. The thing I'm looking for right now is a Cards Against Humanity game, and that's my only real specific interest right now. Let's go downstairs. Down this really steep staircase is the housewares and electronics and stuff like that. First and foremost is to look at all the electronics. This Goodwill location in particular, I find really nice Wi-Fi routers here. So we'll see what's here today. This is kind of interesting. It's a really nice monoprice series speaker selector. I don't think I have any use for it, but it's a cool looking piece of gear. So this is part of the electronics area here. A bunch of alarm clocks and stuff behind me, and then there's these kind of whole dump areas full of power supplies and keyboards and a whole lot of mice today. So like I mentioned, there's a whole lot of Wi-Fi routers that always tend to show up at this Goodwill. And I've found some really high-end ones here before. And it looks like today we're keeping with that trend. There's this nice Netgear Nighthawk wireless AC router here today. They want $35 for this. I actually got one of these here for $15 a while back. But yeah, Nighthawk AC 1900. If I recall right, this thing's still like $130 everywhere else right now. So I don't know what it is about this particular Goodwill, but there seems to be networking, like prosumer networking gear here all the time. It's not a bad place to pick up things like cable modems and routers. Check out this gateway for $13 right here. You could be forever free of the Comcast monthly rental fees. Here's my find of the day so far. It's a Dymo Label Manager label printer. Uses these D1 cartridges that I already have a whole bunch of. This will be a nice gift for Lana. More electronics and TVs over here on this side. Lots of power and other sorts of cables. While I'm not interested in them personally, almost every time I'm at Goodwill I find at least 1 to 3 of Gear headsets. Some of them are nice too, like this Oculus Gear VR. It's a Samsung DLP TV lamp. Super useful, 10 out of 10. Power strips are super useful. I think they price them a little bit high here. $13, I'm pretty sure that's around that price new. All sorts of glassware, water bottles, and other kitchen items. Sometimes I find climbing shoes here. Not super often, but it does not look like there's any today. It's toilet golf. Pee time, tea time. Alright, time to pay for my label maker and head to my next destination. So I'm just leaving the Capitol Hill Goodwill and I'm trying to figure out where to go next. I'm up here on Capitol Hill, so there's plenty of cool places to go, but I'm thinking about just going over to the other Goodwill. We'll see. Alright, time for Goodwill Part 3. This is the big Goodwill on Lane Street down by the stadiums. As is my usual, I'm here to look at the collectibles and the electronics areas. There's some cool ships, but other than that, nothing in the collectibles area really caught my attention today. If you aren't familiar with it, this is like basically the Goodwill headquarters for the area. So it is absolutely massive. There's 3 big areas like this. I'm gonna go to the one where housewares and electronics and toys and furniture is, which is down here. I'll keep showing you the way. There's usually some pretty good finds here for the networking gear. That's where the Capitol Hill succeeds. Smart home stuff tends to be South Lake Union. Here there's a whole lot of AV gear, like home cinema receivers and things like that. So let's check it out. Lots of salvage looking TV monitors. Here's where that home theater stuff I was talking about tends to be. There's a whole lot of speakers. Nothing that looks too fantastic right now. And then along this wall, there's a whole bunch of rack sort of stuff, like AV receivers, and every now and then some networking gear slips into here, which is pretty cool. I found some switches and routers, usually pretty old ones here before. I'm not seeing anything too fantastic today. Lots and lots of TVs and monitors. None of them look super stunning, but some of them are pretty modern. This looks like a pretty nice LG TV here. A testing area. Lots of old lenses. Looks like a lot of Vivitar stuff. Nothing super great. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, that pivotally important rebalance board. And that VR headset. Here's an Xbox 360 power supply, which is actually something I've been looking for, but $6 is a little steep for that. I bet I can get it for free. More than an adequate selection of transformers, power supplies, all sorts of stuff like that. Here's the second Sonos bridge I've seen today. Moving on from the electronics area, let's go have a look for some climbing shoes and see if there's any smart bulbs in any of the lamps. Ladies and gentlemen, in its wild habitat, a shakeway. Plenty of athletic shoes, but I don't see any climbing shoes today. So sometimes mixed into all these lamps, I find smart bulbs like Wi-Fi or Zigbee, Philips Hue, things like that. And I don't see any light bulbs in these today, but it's always something I check for. Very nerdy, I know. Is this a mahogany plastic fluorescent light bulb? Yikes. It's the granite lamp. Complete with 2 random wires. It's Dobby. So this thing says Omega Lamp House on it. This is the top part of a photographic enlarger. Pretty random thing to be in the lamps area. Well, nothing too compelling in the lamp area today. Need any basketballs? Because we got basketballs. Need any chairs? Because we got chairs too. Ooh, silly string. Some Kato string lights. That's pretty interesting, actually. Huge amount of clothes here, although I'm not particularly interested right now. Well, it looks like I'm leaving the big Goodwill empty-handed. Oh well. I think that's about it for today. Thanks for joining me, and remember, please like and subscribe.